Hey guys, it's Shaba back here with another video discussing this wonderful script that we have. Again, if you hopefully have seen the rest of our videos, this is the 10/4/96 script of The Lion King 2, and we're going to continue reading. As you can see, we have, we're just going to real quickly recap. We got through the part where we have Aisha, her POV in the Outlands, the border of the Outlands now with an outsider, with Kovu and Nuka talking, as you saw in the last. So we're going to start with this, with Kovu and Nuka in the Outlands. And this is young cub Kovu. Kovu, did you catch a mouse yet, huh? Bet you didn't. You scared him away, you little miscreant. Stop following me, is what Nuka replies. Now we're going to get to our new pages. I am getting over a cold in a minute, so I'm a little sniffly, but just have to bear with me. Might last for most of the series. But anyway, page 11. Wham, he backhands the little leech away. Kovu tumbles and says wishfully, I just thought, we could be together. It's every line for himself, or are you afraid to be on your own, coward? I'm not afraid of anything, Fleabag, termite, so normal arguing there. Nuka leaves a rejected Kovu behind. The little guy hangs his head, and he sees the mouse come scampering out of hiding. We follow it down the ridge to the edge of the swamp. Wham! Kovu's claw slams over the mouse. He picks it up, dangling it by the tail, letting it dart over the digits in his paws. Ooh, where have we seen this before? Pretty cool. Kovu dangles it above his open mouth, ready to chomp. He puffs up, posturing, trying to convince himself that I am the chosen one, a great and mighty warrior. I have chosen you to die honorably and nourish me. But his little heart melts, so. However, since I am not hungry now, or not so hungry now, I give you your freedom, go on. We know he's a softie, so how does he eat? Well, that's a good question. Storyboard makes a note. Fair question. And he lets the mouse go. He hears something, cocks his an ear to listen, and then shrugs and takes a few steps up to the back up the ridge to the outland side of the swamp river. Without warning, he pivots hard and leaps onto a fallen log, snarling viciously at Aisha. Ooh, so here's the meeting. Who's been hiding on the other side? Her eyes go wide and she starts backing away. She steps forward. He backs up. She backtracks. He backs up. She steps forward. Okay, so we're going to come back. What are we doing here? And then Aisha and Kovu do a little tango and then determined not to turn her back on him. Oh, but they're doing this on a log instead, so this is interesting. Who are you, Pridelander? Is what Kovu says. His arm moves. What are you doing? Aisha, my father says never to turn your back on an outsider. Offended, he keeps stalking her, forcing her to jig and jag, to keep her eyes pinned on him. Back to Kovu. You always do what Daddy says. The line they did keep. Aisha, that pushed a button. No. Bet you do. Bet your daddy's little girl. Ha! I'm an outsider. An outsider doesn't need anybody. I take care of myself. And Aisha gets interested. Really cool. And he's being, showing up the rebel image. We see a flicker of doubt. Maybe he doesn't think it's so cool. So that's interesting to get the internal thoughts there. And just then, here is very similar to what happens in the film. A fallen log moves. Uh-oh, what's going to happen, guys? I think we already know if you've seen the film. Because it's no log, it's a crocodile. He opens wide his mouth, a steel trap of teeth and death. They both scream. Aisha says run, and they do. Kovu vanishing a millisecond before the teeth chomp, snagging only a few stray hairs. Okay, very close, I guess. They look madly around, trying to find an escape route, and, this way. She spins and runs to see Kovu follow. Her face lights up. Someone's actually listening to her. Wow. Interesting. She jumps to a small island in the middle of the swamp. Kovu follows. They land panting, safe for the moment, and then the whole island begins to move. Uh-oh. It's a tangled knot of scooping crocs. Aha. Looks left, right, and instantly makes up his mind and does the impossible. He leaps to shore, using the crocs like stepping stones, bounding from snout to snout until he hits the sand on the other side, but he left Aisha. Aisha is back there. What about me? Halfway up the embankment. You got to take care of yourself. Now that we did not get in the film. That's interesting. I kind of almost like this better. I don't know about you guys. It's pretty fun. Kovu gonna leave Aisha. We'll see. So this is an adventure. Question mark is what they are. I'll go back to these actually after I read the whole page. She looks around, madly around, panic settling in. Crocodile is about to get her, and then Kovu leaps from behind unexpectedly and slams it shut. And she follows Kovu as he leads her out. And there they are at the ridge above, standing and looking down at the crocs trap below. And she's very happy because she says right here, I did it on my own. So again, more emphasis on Aisha doing things on her own in this. Or to rush and then, reliving the experience. We get this. Again, I'll let you guys look at it, but we get this. I don't really have to recite it because we get this kind of in the actual film. That was really brave. Kovu pumps up. Somebody thought he was brave. And it's like a new door's just been opened in Aisha's life. So again, going into like the character thoughts. Before I go too more, I will actually acknowledge this. So this is just kind of like mentioning where this dialogue's taking place within this scene, which is pretty cool to see like them. It's just the storyboard artist making sure to note where it's happening in the scene. Yeah, and then we get the introductions, so formal introductions. I'm Kovu, I'm Aisha. And we focus back to the bushes where Lioness is crouching, and here we get some really cool description of Zira. Zira is a crafty, conniving temptress, worthy of being scarves made. The burning hatred she carries for Simba is the only warmth in her soulless carcass. Whew. Some good wording there. At the mention of Aisha's name, Zira's eyes go wide, her greasy mind whirring. She whispers, Simba's daughter. I kind of did a little voice thing there, but that means something. And as her mind whirs, which we're going to see this a lot, they say whirs a lot in this, Aisha and Kovu are still juiced up and on the thrill high they have at the minute from that whole encounter with the crocs. Aisha's bouncing around. She turns and playfully slaps Kovu with, Tag, you're it. Wham. He instinctively shoves back hard. She rolls a few times and splat. Oh, we didn't get this. Okay, I'll be it. She runs toward him, but he doesn't move. She pounces. He just stares. She bounds around. You gotta run. What's the matter? Don't you know how to play? No, he doesn't. And suddenly it dawns, a huge smile across his face, and just as he's about to... I can't do a roar, but I'm just gonna do it. Roar! That was really bad. Anyway, Simba comes flying in like a snarling guardian angel. He blocks his daughter from Kovu and growls. Kovu is terrified, backpedaling from the snarling beast, slipping and crawling up from the advancing roar. I don't know why I did it like that, but there we go. Zira suddenly comes flying in like a snarling guardian angel as well. She blocks her son from harm, and I should say son quotes, anyway, and growls back at the beast standoff. Then Simba's face goes slack in recognition. Zira is what Simba says. Simba is what Zira says. And now here's her chance. Her eyes turn to flinch, ready to attack when Nala and several other lionesses flank Simba. Zazu flies in, Timon and Pumbaa bringing up the rear. Outnumbered, Zira freezes but doesn't back down. We're going to continue in a second. Interesting notes here. She's going to attack Simba, ? Yes. But here's the thing, Simba needs help. Again, most of you might also be arguing this. This is a very interesting point that the the guy, when Mr. Washer brings up. Because, does Simba need help in that scenario? I guess that's been up to interpretation since this film came out, but, because the scene, again, is in the film. Vaguely. Different lines, maybe, but it definitely, but, yeah, I don't know. Good point. So I like seeing their thought process and arguing, well, does this make sense? And then, I guess they kept it in, so I guess, I don't know, but here's the thing. Anyway, going back, Zira, Nala, Zira, Timon, Pumbaa. So we get the lines. Great, now we know each other. Get out of our pride lands. Asha and Kovu cower eyes like saucers at the drama playing out before them. People, adults arguing. Your pride lands, these belong to Scar, and then Simba, your husband, stole them and killed my father. Interesting, that line. I see why they cut it. 'Cause it's pretty much, you don't really have to say it. You don't have to say it in the film. There's a reason why they cut this, because we were kind of understand that point. But this does also put in some more personal, I don't know, feelings into the actual story that we didn't really get exactly, and it's interesting. But yeah, and killed my father, and you killed him. She's talking about Scar, of course. But I shall fulfill his destiny with a new king. She shoves Kovu into light. The cub looks so terrified at everyone looking at him, basically, and Timon's like, that's not King Fuzzy Maraca, the usual thing that we have in the film. Here's where it gets interesting. Scar had no children, but he handpicked this orphan to follow in his paw prints. He was the last born before you destroyed us with exile. So this is what she was originally supposed to say, which is really cool because it really emphasizes the point that Kovu is Scar's, not Scar's biological son. But what's interesting here is it says also, he puts his note is, but this is my son whose father was killed before Scar took us in. Possible reveal later. So, interesting. So, the fact is, what he was mentioning here, which we will see, there was actually a suggestion of her, having Kovu believe that his father had been killed. But in reality, they were going to end up possibly revealing a character that was going to be his father at the end of the film to make that kind of like, oh, no, she stole Kovu. So it's interesting. And we'll see how that plays out. But that's what this is. I only know that from the other story notes that I have. Most of the script I've kind of skimmed through, so I kind of know how it plays out. I don't want to spoil anything, but looking more in depth, I actually didn't even notice this quote, so that's pretty interesting. So we're going to be noticing some things throughout the series that are interesting, such as that. Madam, Simba showed great mercy more than your greedy bunch of soldiers are capable of. Law of the land required death, but Simba merely banished. Exile in the Outlands is as a death sentence. Little food, less water. You made the choice, Sierra, is what Simba replies to this. And you know the penalty for returning to the Pride Lands, which we can assume is probably death. But she knows she's got a losing hand, and this time she opts for the better part of the valor. And more of, I guess, yeah. So what she does. But the child did not. However, if you need your pound of flesh, and she offers up Kovu for Simba to kill him. But, of course, as we know, and Simba is a good king, he will not bring himself to hurt a defenseless cub. And he tells Sierra, take him and get out. We're finished here. Oh no, Simba, we've barely begun, which is ominous. And she scoops up as the two separate back to their respective families. Now we're coming into the time for We Are One. And I'm not going to sing it, but I will read it kind of almost like a poem. Some of the lyrics, I feel like I could be wrong, but some lyrics might have changed. We'll see. For most of the songs in the script, there are lyrics that might be different, but we're going to see together. Anyway, Pride Rock, late afternoon. The others head back. Simba is kind of scolding his daughter. What did you think you were doing? You are the daughter of the king. You must do as you were told. You were part of. She says many times. Yeah, the great circle of life. I know. Exactly. And you have a responsibility to it. As future queen, what if I don't want to be queen? Simba's nailed in his tracks. This simply never occurred to him. That's like saying you don't want to be a lion. It's in your blood, as I am. We are part of each other. And he begins to sing, We Are One. So we're going to get to that in 1 second. What's really interesting to note is this guy's blatant comment on this. I'm going to read this to you guys. The laws of nature, ? Who is going to be the Lion King, underlined, as in the title? In arranged marriages, which is, again, this guy, some of the viewpoints I will say about this guy are also not my personal viewpoints. Some of them are pretty dated. So whatever's said here is what this guy said, not me. Just going to put that out there real quick. But anyway, in arranged marriages, man's law, which is true, both parties are betrothed. It's not left open. This tradition was presented in Lion King 1, which is true, and it should be declared here too, not wrong. Or did Simba do away with it? But this is the question, because he did say in The Lion King he was going to do away with that. So did he? Who knows? If you guys remember the lines, he was telling that'll be the first to go with Zazu in the beginning of the movie. But yes, very good question. Or just part of it. What are the rock solid rules? What are they? So he's asking, like, what are the rules to this? Which are valid questions. Again, this is probably, like he's saying, he's noting stuff to discuss and bring up, because he's, what he's doing is he's criticizing the script, and it's good, because that's what you do when you write a script, drafts, and you don't have the final draft yet, obviously, because there's a lot of stuff changed. You criticize things, you try to change things, you make things better. Some things for me worse, I'd argue, but this is what you do. Anyway, we're going to get into We Are One. I'm going to so as you go through life, you'll see there is so much that we don't understand. And the only thing we know is that things don't always go the way we've planned. And as he sings, okay, and before I get to the next lines, as he sings, we see that he's just talking about stuff scenes. What is this montage? Yeah, so we see them looking at the Pride Lands, but they see it in a Rashomon vision. Simba sees a mother and daughter giraffe walking together, grazing, the very image of family. Well, half a family. It's funny how he mentions that, because yeah, it's just a mother and daughter giraffe, which is pretty cool. And then a family of birds in a nest, feeding, chirping, they are one. But when Asha looks, she sees a baby giraffe encouraged to stand on its own wobbly, twig-like legs. Hold her. The mother beams as the giraffe sets out on her own. The birds are venturing out onto a branch. It's time for them to leave the nest. So it's really cool, the symbolism that we never actually got within that song that they're talking about, including the scenes here, which is very cool. And then so, same world, 2 points of view. But you'll see every day that we'll never turn away. When it seems all your dreams come undone, we will stand by your side, filled with hope and filled with pride. We are more than we are one. So it's fairly similar, but there's some change here. And we'll get to Aisha's lyrics in a second. We're going to talk about this now, some of the notes. And Simba 2 is a dopey dad. I love this guy's comments on this. One is more than many, right? Man, he's very critical of this whole We Are One thing, but we're gonna continue. Aisha's lyrics will need to be adapted to reflect her new emotions. She doesn't comprehend. So there's some lyrics in here that have been changed. That will change, and it's cool because we can see some points here. But so there's some lyrics in here that are very different. But yeah, as it says here, they have to change. She doesn't comprehend how she can be crossed out. Be part of a family, but not be an individual. How can I be part of a greater plan when I don't know which part I am? She wants to be an individual, and she wants to comprehend. We're mixing a lot of his notes here. So we're mixing a lot of messages here. Aisha wants to be alone, to explore, to be friends with Kovu, to be part of a family, to not be an individual is what he questions. So there's some very weird conflicting things that, again, they didn't really exactly know what she wants in this film, what her drive was. So it's very interesting. We're going to go to lines and try to sing them fairly how they sound. Guess I never knew before what I am is so much more than only me. Every pride, every herd, every beast, every bird, a family. And I don't know if that's exactly how it goes, but it's very off from the song. It's just interesting. I don't know exactly. I guess one of you could probably try to figure out how that would work with the song tune, but we're going to skip back to Simba. Even those who are gone are with us as we go on. Tears of pain, tears of joy, one thing nothing can destroy is our pride deep inside. We are one. We are one, you and I. We are like the earth and sky. One family under the sun. All the wisdom to lead, all the courage that you need, you will find when you see we are one. And again, love his jokes, love this guy's jokes. Get it? We are one. We are one, you and I. Yeah, right. love these jokes. And this is getting into the end of our little segment today, but we're gonna just real quickly So we're just gonna wrap it up here on page 20, and then the next video will show the rest of the script. as we continue our journey through it. But the song ends with the two staring at each other. Simba greatly lifts his daughter's chin, gently lifts his daughter's chin. As long as you live here, it's who you are. You'll understand someday. Perhaps, but Aisha doubts it, and apparently, so do we all. None of us understand either. Fairly true, coming from Mr. Wendell. I'm sorry, Mr. Washer. And as Simba heads inside, she turns and sees the baby bird is free. Aisha, watches the envy with the bird being free, and one day her chance will come. Gaze, and she follows her gaze longingly toward the outlands. So this is where we're going to end today in a second. We're going to get into a dry, desolate world, an alien landscape of termite mounds that grow like boils. In the background, two young lions are in a savage battle over a piece of meat. We leave them fighting to find another young female cub, not much older than Kovu, who's slashing at a bush instead of biting it and tugging at it like we see in the actual film, repeatedly attacking it like a marine on a bayonet. Dummy. Vitani is who this is, and it's a hot-blooded, hot-headed cub who has devoted her life to exterminating the enemy. She keeps practicing when Nuka saunters in, trying to look cool. He deliberately walks in front of Vitani in her training, breaking her rhythm. He meanders on in his slow, arrogant strides, smiling smugly as Vitani scowls for what she can do about the jerk. Obviously, he's probably bigger than her. That's when Zira comes striding the camp, Kovu still dangling in her mouth. So she's coming back with Kovu from the whole confrontation with Simba. Nuka bounds up to her, desperate for any kind of parental attention. And here's where he just notes, the following gets really unpleasant. Talk about dysfunctional. But now we realize it's Kovu's story. He's the Lion King. So now it's pretty much stating the obvious. But again, this is them just trying to make sense of the script as he's reading it. Because he was reading it as we're doing right now. Alright, so that's going to conclude this video for this week. Again, tune in next week. There will be another video up of the next 10 pages. I am going to be doing 10 pages because I think it's just better to do it that way. I know you guys we appreciate more pages, and I think 10 pages is a solid goal. So stay tuned for the next 10 pages. Please like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications on the new videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will try to answer as much as I can. All right. Thank you.